Have you ever felt like something was pulling you toward a message you didn't plan to hear? Like you stumbled across it by accident? But deep down, you know it's not a coincidence? Friend, you didn't just click on this video. You were summoned. Not by a man, not by an algorithm, but by the gentle authority of heaven itself. This is not a random interruption. This is a holy appointment. Right now, something bigger than you is unfolding, and you've been invited into it. I remember once sitting in a crowded cafe, worn out by disappointment, sipping lukewarm coffee and wondering if my prayers had been forgotten. The room was noisy, but inside I felt the silence of heaven. That's when the whisper came, not out loud, but unmistakably real. It said, "I see you. You are not invisible." That moment marked me, not because the world changed, but because I realized I was part of something eternal. And I believe that's what is happening to you right now. You feel it. Something has shifted. This world is groaning. You are restless. And that restlessness is not weakness, it's awakening. God is stirring something that will not leave anything untouched. Not your career, not your comfort, not even the parts of your heart you have learned to ignore. This is not fear speaking, it's clarity. The kind that rearranges what you thought was settled. I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to remind you. You were born into this hour with purpose written across your soul. And now the clock has struck. Heaven is no longer whispering. It is moving, not in chaos, but in divine order. And it's reaching for those who are willing to feel again, to believe again, to follow without needing all the answers. You are not here by chance. You are not listening because you are bored. You are here because something in you is waking up, and when heaven begins to move, it never asks permission. It simply begins. The only question left is, will you begin with it? Have you ever felt like your life was moving forward on the outside, but something unseen beneath the surface was shifting, cracking, demanding your attention? Like the very ground you've been walking on is no longer solid, no longer safe? That's not anxiety. That's a signal, a divine one. The world as we know it is being shaken, but not in anger, in alignment. What once felt stable, your career, your habits, your plans, is now being questioned. Not by people, but by heaven itself. Not to punish you, but to reveal what cannot be shaken, what truly matters, what must remain. So let me ask you, gently but honestly, what in your life have you called normal that God never authored? What have you tolerated, accepted, even protected, that deep down you know is pulling you away from peace, from purpose, from presence? I'm not asking to shame you. I'm asking to wake you, because God is not looking for perfection, but for availability. The foundations are trembling not to destroy, but to rebuild. And when God rebuilds, He starts by clearing out what no longer fits the future. He's calling you into the conversations you avoid, the silence you sit in, the ache you've learned to numb. These are the places He's pressing on, not to hurt you, but to heal you. So here's what I want to ask. And I ask it not just as a storyteller, but as someone who deeply values every soul that listens. If you feel that stirring, if you sense that something sacred is shifting inside you, would you comment, "I'm ready," or simply the number 1? Not for me, but for you to say it out loud, to mark this moment, to choose not to scroll past this and go back to pretending. I read every response, and they remind me that I'm not speaking into a void. They tell me you're out there, that you're listening, that something in you still believes change is possible. That's not small to me. It's sacred. So if you feel it, even just a spark, write it, whisper it, own it. Because when we say yes to God's shaking, we're not losing control. We're gaining alignment. And when heaven moves, those who respond will not be crushed. They will be commissioned. This is not just another revival. This is not a wave of emotion that rises during worship and fades by Monday. What is unfolding now is not scheduled on the church calendar, not confined to pulpits or prayer rooms. It is not interested in theatrics, hashtags, or polished programs. This is a collision, a divine impact between heaven's order and man's disorder. When God decides to interrupt, He does not knock politely. He overturns tables. He silences systems. He exposes foundations. He did it in the temple when Jesus walked in and saw sacred space turned into business. He did not request a meeting. He scattered the coins and shattered the silence. Why? Because the presence of God does not coexist with compromise. And I tell you now, the shaking has begun again, not to entertain the curious, but to confront the comfortable. Look around. Thrones are trembling. Strategies are failing. Even voices that once carried influence now sound hollow. Why? Because glory has entered the room, and glory always demands attention. It is not passive. It does not suggest. It commands. And when it moves, even the proud must bow or be broken. This move will not wait for consensus. It will not pause for commentary. It has come to draw a line between the fake and the faithful. The Spirit of God is sweeping through what once looked unshakable, and if your life, your ministry, your habits, your hope have been built on applause instead of obedience, on comfort instead of covenant, then the shaking will reveal it. What you called strength may have been pride. What you called vision may have been control. And what you called silence from heaven may have been God giving you time to repent. That time is running out. This is not cruelty. This is mercy. A final invitation before the fire falls. A final warning before the veil is torn. So if you feel the unease, do not run from it. Sit with it. Let it break what needs to break. Because what is coming will not ask for your permission. It will not fit your preferences. But it will leave you changed. The question is, will you resist? Or will you respond? Do you remember the feeling of waiting for something you could not name? Watching the days pass with quiet hope that maybe, just maybe, the delay meant something deeper than denial? I have met many who carried that ache, some with tears behind closed doors, some with silence so loud it echoed through their faith. And I must tell you, the delay was never rejection. It was refinement. God does not waste waiting. He uses it to separate the noise from the voice, the shallow from the surrendered. What you thought was a pause was preparation. And now, that which was buried is about to bloom. I once spoke to a man who told me, "I think God forgot me." But I saw in his eyes the weight of years, where heaven seemed still, yet the roots of faith were growing deeper than he realized. And I believe some of you feel the same. Forgotten, delayed, buried under responsibilities, heartbreak, and prayers that went unanswered. But listen closely. The seed is not dead. It was planted, and now the soil is breaking. God is bringing forth the harvest, not because you earned it, but because He promised it. Can I ask you something with honesty? Have you mistaken the silence for abandonment? Have you let delay become your definition? If so, you are not alone. Many have walked through this shadow. But today, the light is breaking through. What seemed like the end was the beginning, and the shaking you feel is not destruction. It is birth. If this speaks to you, if something inside is stirring with recognition, I invite you to comment, "I'm ready," or simply, "One, not for me, but for you," to mark this moment, to let heaven and earth know that you heard, that you are still listening, that faith is still alive. Your comment tells me I am not speaking into an empty space. It tells me you are there, and that matters deeply to me. I believe this season will reveal that what felt wasted was sacred, that your wilderness was never a punishment. It was a preparation for fruit no man can take credit for. And if you can believe that again, even with trembling hand, then this moment is yours. Hold it, speak it, respond. Because heaven is already in motion. You were never meant to stand on the sidelines of what God is doing. From the beginning, He has called ordinary people into extraordinary purpose, not because of their perfection, but because of their surrender. When Jesus walked along the shore and called fishermen to follow Him, He did not ask for their qualifications. He did not review their failures. He simply said, "Follow me." And they did, not knowing the cost, not seeing the full picture, only trusting the voice that stirred something deep inside them. That same voice is still calling not just the pastors, not just the visible leaders, but the ones who feel hidden, tired, or unsure. Those who love God but question if they are really part of the plan. You are your hand, your words, your daily life. All of it matters. In this move of God, He is not looking for platforms. He is looking for hearts that whisper yes when no one is watching. This is not about leading crowds. It is about carrying light. And light is most powerful when it enters dark places. I believe many listening right now have been carrying fire in secret. You have prayed in silence. You have obeyed in quiet rooms. You have believed even when nothing changed. And that, friend, is exactly where heaven begins to move. God chooses those who have nothing to prove. He trusts those who have stood their ground without applause. He calls the surrendered, not the celebrated, just like He called David from the field, Gideon from hiding, Mary from obscurity. Heaven has always chosen the humble. And if you are still standing after everything that tried to silence you, then you are stronger than you know. You do not need to wait for someone to notice you. God already has. The oil is searching for vessels that have been emptied of ego and filled with trust, and when it finds you, it will not ask for explanation. It will flow gently, quietly, powerfully, because you were never disqualified. You were being prepared, so walk forward, not with fear, but with quiet confidence, the kind that comes from knowing who sent you. You are not here to be impressive. You are here to be faithful, and heaven is drawn to the faithful always. Fire does not fall on convenience. It falls on consecration. The altar must be real before the flame descends, and not the kind built of noise or performance, but the kind shaped in silence, in daily obedience, in saying yes. When no one claps, many want the fire of God, but few are willing to be the fuel. We often imagine that God moves through the loud, the visible, the extraordinary. But if you look closely at Scripture, fire never searched for crowds. It searched for altars. Elijah built one with stones and sacrifice. The fire came not because of volume, but because everything was in place. In Leviticus, the fire fell only when the priests had followed every instruction with reverence. It was not emotional hype. It was holy order. And that is still true. God does not respond to pressure. He responds to posture. When the early church waited in the upper room, they did not manufacture a moment. They remained in alignment, and the Spirit came like wind and flame, but not to entertain, but to empower. That same fire is still searching for resting places, not in the impressive, but in the available, the ones who have decided that comfort will not be their God, the ones who have chosen purity over popularity. So right now, or strategy, there is a difference between being interested in God and being interrupted by Him. Fire interrupt. It consumes. It changes everything it touches. And when it falls, it leaves nothing hidden. This is why many are afraid of it. We want transformation without exposure. We want blessing without breaking. But real fire never leaves you untouched. It melts what is false. It purifies what is impure. It awakens what was asleep. If your life is truly on the altar, you will not need to chase fire. It will find you. And when it does, it will not just warm you. It will mark you. There is no neutral response to the presence of God. You are either consumed or you walk away unchanged. And if you feel the heat rising in your spirit, if you sense something holy drawing near, do not resist it. Yield, not with fear, but with reverence. Because when fire touches what is yielded, it does not destroy, it transforms. Have you ever wondered why the pace of your life feels like it is shifting without warning? Why doors that were once sealed seem to be opening faster than your thoughts can catch up? And why what once took years now feels like it is rushing toward you in days? It is not your imagination. It is grace in motion. There is a sound in the spirit that does not resemble noise. It resembles momentum, the kind that heaven releases not when we are ready on paper, but when we are positioned in surrender. I believe some of you listening have been faithful in the quiet for far too long. You prayed when no one saw. You obeyed when it cost you. You waited without complaining. Not perfectly, but persistently. And now God is collapsing delay into divine timing. What once felt slow is about to accelerate, not because you forced it, but because your roots went deep enough to handle the fruit. And yet, acceleration has a cost. It requires readiness, not the kind measured by confidence, but by obedience. Because when the wind of heaven begins to blow, it will not pause for you to prepare. It will pass by those still calculating the risk. It will land on those who already said yes when the sky was still silent. So let me ask you, not as a preacher, but as a friend who believes your life carries weight, are you ready for what you prayed for? Are you truly willing to let go of what is predictable so you can step into what is providential? This moment is not a suggestion, it is a summons. God is not sending a memo. He is swinging open a door. And those who walk through it will not be the ones with the best plans. They will be the ones with the clearest surrender. And I want to know if you are one of them, if something in you is stirring, if you feel the pull to stop hesitating and start responding. Would you let me know by commenting, "I'm ready," or just the number one? I read these responses with reverence, not to count numbers, but to see your names, to know you are hearing what heaven is releasing, and to remember that this message is not falling into empty air. It is landing in hearts like yours. Your comment tells me you have heard the call, that you are not just passing through, you are pausing, responding, stepping forward. And as someone pouring out these words in faith, I want you to know it means more than you think. So if you feel it, even a whisper, say it. Mark the moment, because what comes next will not wait for applause. It will move with fire, and I would be honored to know you are standing in it with me. Some of you have been carrying fire and still feel cold. You have prayed until your voice broke, waited until your heart hardened, and served until your strength ran dry. And still, nothing moved. Not the doors, not the people, not the pain. You kept showing up. But heaven felt silent, and that silence started to sound like rejection. I know that feeling. I have stood in that silence too. But what if I told you that the silence was not God walking away, but God leaning in? What if the delay was not punishment, but precision? What if the thing you thought was the end was only the excavation of your beginning? Friend, this is not just a moment of revival. It is a moment of revealing. The world is not just shifting. Heaven is unveiling what has been hidden in your life for far too long. The prayers you thought were buried have become seeds, and now the soil is breaking, the ground is moving, and the fire is coming. Not just to warm you, but to wake you, not to destroy what you built, but to burn away what you no longer need. What God is doing now will not make sense to your calendar. It will offend your control. It will challenge your logic, but it will align your soul. This is not about a better version of your old life. This is about a new one entirely. And if you wait until you feel ready, you will miss what is being handed to you by grace. The next step is not comfort. It is obedience, and you already know what it is. You feel it. That quiet thing God has been whispering, that one thing you keep postponing, that door you were afraid to walk through, that conversation you were afraid to have, that dream you buried because it scared you. Now is the time, not later, not after confirmation, not when things settle. Now, God is not waiting for you to become someone else. He is calling the you who exists right now, the tired you, the doubting you, the hopeful but hesitant you, and He is not asking for perfection. He is asking for permission. Let Him lead. Let Him shift. Let Him set fire to every excuse and every fear that kept you small. Because what comes next will not be small. It will be sacred, and it will not be quiet. It will be clear. You will hear it in your sleep. You will feel it in your chest. You will see it in places you once called dead. Because when God begins to move, everything wakes up. So I am not here to soothe you. I am here to stir you. This story is not finished. You are not finished. And the one who began the good work in you has not forgotten your name. He is about to make your yes echo in ways you cannot yet imagine. So watch what happens next. Because in the next video, we will step deeper into the fire. And there, you will see that the shaking was never sent to break you. It was sent to reveal you. Be ready. The unveiling has only begun.